Hello and welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm Dr. Jane Mountrose, your host with my good friend Buddy and my wonderful, wonderful co-hosts, both coaches and healers, Gretchen and Loola Mora. So we're very excited this week. We're going to talk about staying strong in the midst of adversity. And this is a topic that is really important to all of us, I think, especially if we're stepping out of the mainstream. Even in the mainstream, there's always adversity. And I think it's really important for us as light workers, healers, way showers, and people like that to be able to stand with confidence in our own truth and divine light. So you'll hear more about this from each of us today. And because we're all reaching, I think all of us are reaching into new places and opening more to our own strength to be able to really hold that hold that energy. So thank you for joining us again. We'll be doing a meditation as we usually do along with our discussion. And this is something that was presented to me from Metatron. So I'll be curious how you like it. It's about building your own strength, healing and activating more of your spiritual light, which is just essential. So we may also do an oracle reading. We'll have to see what happens in our time together. But that often is a wonderful enhancement too. So one thing before we begin, I want to thank you for joining us. The Circle is here every week to help us to light up our lives, to heal, grow, and stand up as beacons of light for the world. And we appreciate every single one of you who joins us and supports this mission for yourselves and for humanity. I also want to just take a brief moment to center ourselves. So just maybe closing your eyes if you're in a place to do that. And just breathing. Imagine all those beings of light who are supporting us and breathing in love and light into your body and all around you. And just feeling yourself in your body in this moment and all of us together through time and space, wherever you are and whenever you have a chance to watch or listen to this. That little moment, it always feels so good. It surprises me each time. It's so interesting. So let me see, I have to get the comments up too. If anybody is joining us who wants to say something, we appreciate hearing from you. So to introduce the topic, I wanted to turn to you first. Loola, would you like to share a bit about why this topic is important to you and just your perspective?
Of course, there's several thanks to everyone that is joining. Thanks to you and Gretchen. Wow. I think it's a constant of life, to have challenges, that's the way we grow and the way we really look into our inner landscape, is the way we are like send or I think push sometimes because we are not really wanting to see a lot of things. So in my actual experience, I have been challenging with a lot of physical healthy issues since this year started. And to stay strong is important because when we are like in a low vibration or like facing a lot of challenges, for sure, we are like needing lots of energy, that's ask us to be like focused on something and something specifically. And when we're in the middle of the noise, and in that adversity is more challenging actually, we as humans, and talking about myself specifically, when I'm like in a challenging moment, I have a tendency to avoid doing the things that actually help me, because I feel like low of energy.
Right.
So it's like more challenging for me to sit and to meditate, for example, or to chant and to look for those tools that I already know, or maybe ask a friend or a colleague because we need help from someone. And that actually helps us to move faster. So to make the story short, I went to many of the doctors, and they were not finding what was going on. So that's really frustrating. And in the meanwhile, a lot of other things start happening. It's like everything come at the same time. Everything comes together. So I was needing really to be centered and focused, and not to give up.
Right.
Because that was like something that put me really like on a limit. So I was like finding some like routes or ways to deal with something, and then another situation was coming. So I was like, oh my God, how can I like help myself? Because I knew deep in my heart that I was experiencing all of those things because are part of my process. But it's
Right.
not nice, when you are in the middle of it, like to accept it first. I think that's something that I have been learning a lot. Accept things, how they are, and to find why, not why, like what is under that experience. How can I learn about it, and how can I like overcome that in
Mm-hmm.
a
Right.
better way? So I think at the same time that all the challenges were coming together, all the helps or like people or opportunities were all the same time showing up, you know so that means that I was like all the time doing a lot of work, and sometimes I don't really knew if I was like doing better or not, because in my experience, when I start moving things and working on them, they get harder. I don't know how to express this in my practice, because I'm a Buddhist. We call it devilish functions. That means there are like the obstacles. So that means that you are doing good, but things start like being more challenging. So it's like harder. So I was like a little bit, I don't find the word, like I had my days, that I was not feeling so strong. I had my days where I was really needing to cry, to release all those emotions and accept that the emotions come to be processed and to allow me to understand something. So I don't want to enter on details exactly on what was my experience, because I think that's not a need be here, but has been really a challenge, you know
Oh, yeah.
and thankfully I have people close like you and Gretchen that actually have helped me when I need help too, because I have my tools, and I do it. But when you have someone that is supporting you, like feels better, I think it's easier to find like the way to get more insights, and like to have another point of view make me easier to integrate what I need to integrate. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
still experiencing a lot of things, but I feel lighter and I feel better. Other many things have been resolved. And yeah, last week, I think, not last Friday, actually I have the opportunity to do a process with you that have helped me a lot, and I'm feeling uh, more motivated and more clear. I think that's the word, clearer on
Mm-hmm.
my path.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm
Wonderful.
feeling really good, and I wanted to share that, because as light workers, we have that tendency to fight with our egos, because we think that, or we feel, sometimes it's a mix of thinking and feeling, that we need to have everything resolved because we want to be there for other people, you know
Right.
so it has
Right.
been really hard for me to understand that I need to focus right now more in myself, to get what I need to understand, and to experience what I need to get ready to help others when I'm ready. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not ready right now. I am, and I'm helping people too, but I'm more focused on myself. So it's like this moment that I'm like experiencing that, to be more ready for others, to help.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to
Yeah, and
share.
it is like that idea to everything there is a season. And sometimes we think, well, I should be in this season when actually you are in another season, and we have to go with the flow of life.
Yes. Yes, and you know, a concept was really present in my experience that it is the intervals and octaves.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, Gretchen, amazingly, like was like got that. This will be a nice moment to like to see those concepts again, and she contact me and remember and remind me about them when actually I was with them really present. So that synchronicity is amazing. So
yeah.
having people around that support you in your process is amazing. It's amazing. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So how about you, Gretchen?
Yes, thank you, Jane, and thank you, Loola, for sharing all that. I think it reminds me of one of the things that is kind of part of my daily practice, and that is trusting that these things that we're going through are transient, that they're going to eventually end. You know, these are temporary, fleeting things in our life, in the scheme of things, and that you know, that's important for us to understand that. And I was recently asking actually some guidance about how to have the courage in my heart to face the things that I need to face. And some of the guidance that I received was really a lot to do about self-value and self-worth, and how they are often the things that are underappreciated and overlooked in our herd mentality in our culture. And you know, in a culture that is constantly judging our worth on you know, it's based on reward and punishment in our society, and the things that we're being judged on are really about our accomplishments. And if we can stay connected daily to our source, divinity, the angels, the light beings, our spirit support team, as I like to call mine. I feel like they are a team behind me. We can start to feel more of our self-worth. And one of the things that I received in guidance was that this is really something that's kind of overlooked and underappreciated. Often self-love, self-value, self-worth is considered to be egotistical or a part of being vain, or, you know, vanity. And it's just simply not the truth. It's so important so that we can stay aligned with the love that's in the universe, and know that we have support, that we have resources available to us. And the longer that we can stay in that vibration of aligning with love every day, it really is, for me, a daily practice. And why it's so important to do daily is that's going to help us believe in ourselves. It's going to help us find the courage to overcome our obstacles. It's going to give us the confidence to achieve the things that we want to achieve. And if we can let go of a lot of what society teaches us in that kind of herd mentality, that we have to do it this way, or, you know, you have to accomplish something to have any kind of value, reconnecting with the love in the universe, reconnecting daily with your guides, with the angels, with the light beings, with your source, excuse me, is going to be giving you more impetus to continue not only that relationship with them, but also with yourself, you know, so that you will continually be cultivating the aspect of self-worth and self-love. And it's so important if we want to raise our energy vibrations, if we want to rise to new heights in our evolution spiritually, that the self-love and self-worth are really important factors in that. We really can't achieve a lot in our life without feeling our own value. And so to me, it's really important to be able to do that on a daily basis, and also to find the things to align with things that are positive every day, you know, to you can just say, you know, you need to stay positive. Okay, well, what does that mean? You know, what is that? You have to figure out what that means for you as an individual. And when we're able to do that, we're able to create more harmony. And when we're aligned with positivity, which is available to all of us at any time. It's universally available. And by choosing love, we become like a spiritual warrior. We're making the slightly more difficult choice at times when we're, being confronted with life, or being confronted by people, or experiencing trauma or negativity in our life. It's always a choice. We always have that choice before us. Do we go down the low vibrational road and fall into those pits of despair, or do we choose love and take a slightly more difficult road on some level? So like Loola says,
easy when you get
right,
there.
right, exactly. And that's what's so interesting about it.
It's kind of like challenges are expected and suffering is optional.
Exactly. And so while we're in those places in our life where we're having to confront our obstacles, knowing that we can continually realign with that love energy, which is the energy matrix of all life. It really is. And it's always available. It's abundantly abundant. It doesn't run out.
Right.
And as long as we can continue to connect with our guides in that way, they will help us. We have that support system from the universe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Thank you. And I want to mention Nikki Wood is here. She says good morning, as does Sharon Williamson. So good morning to both of you, wonderful friends. The way that I describe the place to be, well, for healing, and actually it's a place to be probably at all times, is a place I call pure potential, which is like where everything is open. And essentially, it's about being connected with your own divine light. I think that's what you're suggesting.
Yes.
I mean, in different words, remembering that we are beings of light. We are creators. Also, we're not victims.
Right.
Nobody forced us to come here. We came here actually with a plan and with challenges. We knew what we were doing. I was reading one of the oracles the other day, and it said something about how each of us has decided to walk the earth in this life and to experience the fullness of what this means, which includes facing challenges. And I think it's really important to understand that we're not here by accident. Things are not happening to us by accident. Everything is happening to us for our own good on a more divine level, one that we may not be able to understand. And if we're seeing ourselves as victims, we're misunderstanding the truth. Right. Or if we're blaming someone else, or if we're thinking we're justified in being angry or fearful or whatever it is. And I'm saying this having chronic, like sometimes it's actually anger is appropriate. If someone is actually violating your boundaries or whatever, it's appropriate to be angry and to say, get out of here, get out of my space. Or if a lion is chasing you, fear is appropriate. But it's those in between times when we kind of just start resonating with anger or fear or anxiety or whatever it is over a long period of time, when it's stuck, because we want it to move through so that we can return to being aware of ourselves as divine lights. And aware of everyone else as a divine light too. I think that really helps to recognize that we're all here in this together, and we are, whether people are aware of it or not, or whether they're manifesting from that place or not, there is divinity in each and every one of us.
Yes, actually,
Buddy agrees.
But
He says, you're absolutely right.
He's a master in that.
He's a very good supporter to have around, because I'm always right.
Yeah, and I love the way actually Gretchen say it, and in my experience, that actually I have been like understanding that concept more deeply. We talk a lot about love, and people around like love, but what does that really mean? Is like Gretchen say it, like actually everything starts from our self-love and self-worth,
right?
Because that's the only way we can really tap to love generally. If I'm not in a good place with myself, it's impossible to be in a good place with others, So those concepts of everything starts with you, or everything starts going to your heart, going back home, sounds really like but really integrating the concept takes time. And sometimes we need, not only sometimes, I think as we move forward in life, there are moments that we need to go back to that understanding and to experience that in different levels. Doesn't mean that we haven't improved, is that it's part of the process. It's really the way we connect with the life force, with that higher vibration, so it's going back to our self-love and self-worth. And I can tell that I now can see my improvement. If I see myself, for example, at the beginning of the year, I see myself today in a better place, like I love myself like more deeply. I can tap easily to that place of pure potential. I actually have been like working on my discipline, how frequently I need to do some things, because there are moments in our lives that we need to do a little bit more, as when we are exercising.
Yeah,
so
that's the way it is.
understanding now I know to be more doing those things that ground me, that allows me to feel centered, connect with the source,
keep us healthy, like exercise.
Exactly.
I exercise most days, 6 days a week out of 7. And it's not that I do it because I can't wait to get up and exercise, but I do it early in the morning because then I know that my body is going to stay strong.
Absolutely.
So, and they're just very simple things to remember for all of us. I have been reflecting on this myself over the last few days, and one of the things that I was told going into my own meditation was about Jesus. And this is not this is not a Christian program. I think some people become offended by just the mention of Christian sources. But this is really universal truth, that God's or Jesus's gift was to stand in the light of the divine, to stand in a place of love. And for healers, I've often thought about how he healed. And what I understand about it is that he's able to heal, or was able to heal, because he always saw people in their wholeness, which to me, this is the same thing as pure potential, to see things without limits and always to have that potential there if you're healing. And of course, the same is true for yourself, to always be in that place. And unfortunately, that perspective hasn't been fully understood, or even barely understood in some parts of society. But as healers and light workers, we're here to actually stand out in the forefront and emulate that. And if we can stand in our divinity, that's one of the best things we can do, which is standing in the light, standing in the energy of love. That's one of the best things we can do all around. So sounds good.
Yes.
And it simplifies it. I remember I think often of, in terms of people thinking that they're completely healed. One time I had a friend, this is not a person who was one of our students or anything, and really didn't understand exactly how we approach things. She was a friend, and I can't remember the exact situation. She and another woman were at our house, and she was crying about something that happened to her when she was a child, and she said, well, I went to a psychic and she told me that I cleared all my childhood issues, but I don't know what's wrong now. Well, the psychic was wrong. If we're triggered, there's something there to be understood, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a way to know, if we don't make excuses like, well, that person did this to me and I'm justified in being frustrated and angry with them. Well, maybe not. I think we have to look at being also responsible for our own healing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like a lot of my work at this point in my life is to really overcome those programmed responses that I have to life. And for me, it's, it might be I might get angry, or it might be a trigger to make, to bring up that energy, that anger energy. And then I have to look at it, so
Right.
it's about becoming more aware and of your programmed responses too, I feel, and discerning, what you need to let go. And so that can become a daily practice. That actually helps quite a bit to just reflect on where you're at in life. And when those moments come up, just to really cultivate more awareness as to what you're experiencing. And it might be a programmed response. It might be like, why do I always feel this way when this happens?
Right. Yeah.
And so for me, that's been a big eye opener over the last couple of years. And I feel like I'm in that place in my life now where I can do that, where maybe 5-10 years ago, I may not have been in a place to recognize those things. But the more that I can do that and release those things that aren't serving me, the more I am constantly aligning with that love of the universe, with that support. And
right.
you stay in a level of positivity longer if you can reduce and release the things that are challenging you, and I think that's another way that we can take care of ourselves, that we can improve our self-care, that we can bring forth more love for ourselves, and stop listening to the herd mentality that says, oh no, you only can do it this way, and you have to accomplish something to have value. And I think that's just not true. It's one of the kind of lower vibrational lies that we're told as we're getting older, as we're growing up as children. And so it's a program response for me. And I think that's just one of the things that's helpful in order to release that daily, and to just stay in contact with your guides, and just to remember that you do have the support. It is so vital to remember that we're not alone in this. Like Loola was saying earlier, having the support of not only her human family, but also of her guides and her spirit guides. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's something bad about us. If we find ourselves stuck in anger or frustration or whatever it is, it's just that well, like you were suggesting, Gretchen, it's a certain level of understanding of what's happening. And it's really if you look at it from that level of divine light, it's a misunderstanding of what's possible. And that's why we want to be able to open to something else as a possibility. I think that question, what else might be possible, is a very interesting one. Yes. If you look at it from a place of pure potential, actually, if you just ask that question, if you're angry, that you might get some insights. It might it's like, oh, well,
right.
I could.
It's a very powerful question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, that question, in my case, I already only like asking it, I can feel how I expand, how right. I open, how I'm being able to receive, and sometimes like we don't see or I don't see how profound things are on words or little situations, little things that sometimes I didn't see. So the word that is coming a lot to me today is observation. I think that's part of our process of each of us, and different practices or things or tools actually invite us to do that. It's simple, but it's really profound, like when you're able to observe yourself, like to
right.
not react and like to observe. I think that's a huge step for the other ones, because when you are observing, you're allowing yourself to be present, not to be so in your head or something, like, okay, I'm observing, and then move forward according to that observation. But every time is different, because it's up according to your present moment. So it's a practice too. So I that's something that I talk a lot with many of my clients when we're working together, and I bring that a lot when I see that it's moment to bring some words, that they don't really use them, or like they don't use them because they don't understand the concept,
Right.
and I think observation and discernment, that comes really there too, because then you are being able to like observe and decide. And we, as you mentioned, Jane, we choose to be here.
Right.
And actually, we don't remember that, but we choose many of the challenges or like things that happen to us to learn about our, like, it's like little steps. It's like a game. I know that I already mentioned it. It's like those little or big things that start coming to give us the clues to our next step. So that's the reason observation for me is really important, and I need to be reminded of that sometimes, because we say a lot that, but when we go back, we need sometimes that a guide or a situation remind us about it and push us to be in that present moment, observe, integrate, and go to self-love and self-worth.
Okay.
So yeah, is like, I think it's the way we can like be strong in a moment of adversity.
Right.
Remember that. And actually, I think in many of my practices, in different ones during my life, is like that moment when you feel that you are gonna give up, that you are not, it's too much, that a little bit more of breathing, a little more of patience. That's the moment when we really move forward and we expand. So adversity, in my opinion, is an opportunity. Is the opportunity to grow and to figure out the next steps.
Yeah.
Because a lot of other things are gonna come.
Right.
But part of a life here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is sometimes adversity is people actually criticizing us, which is
great point.
for those of us in in this kind of doing this kind of work, that does happen. And we have to be able to, I think I always aim to be open if someone is criticizing me, and also I want to stand in my own truth and not bow to someone's, lies or misconceptions of things, because I can't please everybody. It's not going to ever happen. And that's life. But if we're coming from a place of purity, of pure intention, as much as possible, of wanting the good for everyone and everything, there's not much more we can do than that. So
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to do the meditation next. And as I suggested, this is something that Metatron actually brought to me. We have right now an Akashic Records course, and this is something that I go into the Akashic Records very often. And when I do that, I go often with Metatron, who's a guide for me and also the keeper of the records. And things happen. It's interesting, things like show up like lights and things. So one time recently, this luminous white ball of light showed up, and it was there. I didn't know what it was there for, so I just kind of opened to what it was, and I realized that it was there to help me to clear debris from my energy field that is just kind of stuck there. So that's what we're going to do today. And it is mostly intended for debris that just happens to get stuck. We pick up energy from other people in other places. And also, I think when we clear things, sometimes there are just little residuals left over. And all of that is occupying space. As I think Gretchen was mentioning that before, when we have those blockages, they're occupying space that keeps us from being fully present. So we want to clear as much of it as we can. So that's what we're going to do. So you can start, if you're in the right place, to close your eyes and just start breathing in that beautiful love and light from the beings of light who are here supporting us today. And I want to invite in Archangel Metatron, who is an angel, one of the archangels who is considered to be closest to God. Just a very brilliant, beautiful, sparkling diamond white light you might perceive, or radiant white light around him. And in his hand, I see now, actually, he's holding this ball of light. And as he releases it to each one of us, it grows in size. So, and it starts out above us, this beautiful, radiant ball of light. And what it actually is a swirling sphere of spiritual light. So it's going to swirl through through the energy field for each of us to clear out residual traces of things. So we want to open to the process and just imagine a large ball of swirling white light, just the perfect light for you, swirling in the perfect way. Might have sparkles in it. I always like sparkles. Sparkles seem to to clear things themselves. They spark into things. So just imagine it above you and sense its purpose to loosen any energetic debris that might be stuck anywhere in your, you could say, earthly vehicle, in your energy field, which includes the body and the light that's around you. So there are levels of it, the physical level, emotional level, mental and spiritual. So it holds all of the thoughts and feelings about ourselves that we hold. And just imagine it now, just drifting down gradually over you. And feel that swirling, just beautiful, perfect white light flowing all around and through you. And you can even ask it to focus in an area where maybe you don't love yourself, or maybe you know you need some clearing, or just allow it to flow all through your energetic makeup, loosening and removing any debris that's been lodged in your vehicle. You could say it's kind of like an energetic car wash. You're moving through this beautiful swirling white light. So what it's doing is it's loosening up anything that's stuck there that can be released, and carrying it off back into the universe where it can be neutralized and turned back into light. So just relax with it and feel it swirling perfectly through all the layers of your energy field. So it's clearing residues from the past, from other places, from other people. And it's so important in this kind of a situation as light workers, healers, way showers, and the like, for us to be as clear as we can be. So this is something you can do anytime, to invite Metatron to provide this swirling white light for you. And as this is occurring, Metatron is commenting that this will allow you to feel more stable and capable of being strong in your body in the moment, wherever you go. So you can imagine that feeling now, just feeling grounded, and at the same time connected also with the highest of spiritual realms that are available to you too. And notice that you're feeling lighter as the weight of any of that debris is being carried off. So you're becoming lighter and brighter. And of course, within that white light is love. So you can feel the love all around you. Even if there isn't much to clear in the sense of having blocks that you're aware of, there still may be residuals of things, residuals of things. And the more you clear out the debris, the better you feel. Again, you may focus it in different areas of your body. I'm feeling it in my spine. The spine is our foundation. So if you're feeling back pain or pain anywhere, like lower back pain, that's often about feeling insecure. Just allow that to flow, that energy to flow through there and clear out any residuals of energy that are stuck there. Could send it through your brain. It's not uncommon to have residuals of stuck energy in the brain. And then all around you, also focusing on allowing your energy field to expand out. We contract ourselves because we think we need to hold a limited space when actually we are large and magnificent spiritual beings. Just allow yourself to have more space. And you may also sense as you do this that the division between you and all that is becomes much less noticeable, that we actually start flowing into that sense of being in sync with the divine. That feels good. And as we do this, you may sense that clearing out those residuals creates space for something new to enter. And it is true, when we clear, we also want to fill the spaces with light and love. And I want to invite now Archangel Raziel to come in to join us. He's an angel who's he's considered to be the magician of the angelic realms. And he also is like the spiritual guru of the angelic realms. He reaches into the mysteries. And he's here to help us to open more fully to the divine within us, which he does with rainbows of light. So now you can imagine rainbows of light entering your field. I'm kind of seeing it's like sparkles of rainbow light flowing down from above. They may be swirls coming from the sides. They may just be there, just that beautiful rainbow light. And the wonderful thing about rainbows of light is that everything is there, all the colors of the rainbow representing all the aspects of our being. So you can ask the rainbows to go into all of the cells of your body, and the cells can choose which colors they need. All of it is love. And just feel those sparkles of rainbow light. It's interesting. As I do this, I feel like I'm larger. Like I'm growing, not just my energy field expanding, but I'm growing taller. And I think it is like standing strong that we can become taller and greater. So just sense that tallness in you. And how you are divine and everything is really divine. All of those limited things that are happening are misunderstandings, some of them very big misunderstandings, obviously. But the best thing we can do is invite people to open from those misunderstandings more to love and light. Rather than going down and wallowing with them doesn't help anything. So I can see us standing strong as beacons of light. And I feel there are, with the archangels, come whole realms of angels with them. So there are angels and masters and guides all around us, and they're applauding us for standing strong. And that feels good. And they're thanking us and telling us how much they love us. It's interesting, it didn't occur to me until rather recently that it would be meaningful for me to tell them I love them. which I do. I dearly love all of the beings of light who are supporting me. And I think it stems from not valuing myself, as if they wouldn't care. Like I'm this lowly person here. What do they care if I love them? But they do. They recognize us actually as equals, because on some level we are. They recognize us in our full magnificence. And we can do that too, in this moment and in other moments, as often as possible. To stand in the light that we are. Makes me think again, Jesus said, I am the way and the light. Each of us is the way and the light. He also said, what I can do, and these are paraphrases. I'm not a very good biblical scholar. That what I can do, you can do and more. So just stand fully in your magnificence and remind yourself, if ever you doubt yourself, that you can return to this place because you know what it is. It's one of those moments again when I feel like I don't want to leave this place, and we don't have to. That's the thing. We think when we complete a meditation that we have to go back into kind of into the depths of being physical. We can be very physical and very spiritual all at the same time. So with that in mind, just ground yourself, feel yourself connected to the earth and also connected above, connected all the way up to source. And breathing in more active energy, preparing to come back fully into our speaking mode and sharing mode. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And Sharon said, kind of like a sparkly roto-rooter. Exactly. That's the idea.
Oh, great.
How was that for you guys?
It was lovely. Every time we call in Raziel, I always have something humorous happen, and I felt like I was standing underneath a big disco ball that was spinning with all of these beautiful colors, coming off of it, reflecting off of it on all of us, and everyone was on roller skates, even the angels. So I think a lot of times I receive information like that just because it reminds me to be lighthearted.
Right. Yeah, he's also, I didn't
me.
mention it this time, but he's also one of the most joyful of the angels. I think that's what drew me to him initially. Yeah. Although now I feel like there must be some kind of a deep connection, because I think of him often and just invite him in because he makes me feel so light and bright.
Right. They were all spinning around. I was standing underneath this disco ball, and all the angels and the light beings were on roller skates going around and around. And when you said you saw them applauding, they were all applauding while they were spinning around and around me. It was just really funny. So yeah, I get some strange imagery sometimes, but those really beautiful. I could really sense that energy clearing. So it was beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I love the way the experience was for you. For me, it was, funny, joyful too. I connected again to my, I don't know if you watched that movie Avatar, that the beings are blue, so I frequently go to that similar places. So today for me was a lot of fantasy, and a lot of beings were there, completely different beings, but beautiful, each of them. And they were saying, like, we hope you can see yourself through our eyes. We see you so perfect and beautiful.
Right.
And allowed your magic to shine. They were actually like laughing, and like I actually have the image of one of them with a long eye, only one, and was like the part of an elephant, but here with one eye, and saying like, maybe many people think that I'm ugly, but look at me, you love myself, you love me, and I love you. So allow all of other like variants or differences to be in love, and the magic, I start feeling lighter all the time. And actually at that moment I didn't see myself. I felt that I was light, but the more like shining light was that blue, like light blue light, that of the color of the skin of those like personages, like those kind of beings. And when we started, I actually felt Metatron really like showering me with the light. And when you mentioned those examples, I felt like I was like in a car wash, the same. And I felt the vibration actually, like like preparing me to the next level. So I was like, yeah, it was beautiful. And the part of the rainbows, I actually was lifted, from
Wonderful.
From the like exactly the rainbows. They came like beans too, like little rainbows, and I started feeling taller too, like that I was being like flexible and expandable,
Right.
like
Yeah.
So yeah, but
that was fun, wasn't
was
it?
fun. And when you say like it's time to say that I love, maybe you love them too, I felt a lot of love. Actually, we were hugging with each of the beans there, and that I was like, I don't know if, I think was a very big plant, unique but beautiful in that like avatar world. And we start hugging and hugging. And the insight that I received today is like, every time that you experience a huge challenge, do a party or celebrate, because that means that you're gonna grow and that you're experiencing life correctly. So I have that metaphor of other cultures, that when someone passed away, they celebrate, and they actually, many of them like have a party and they dance. So they were like inviting me to do that. Like every time that you feel sick or that you feel like in a low vibration state or facing a lot of challenges, celebrate, because you're going to expand. That was the
that's
message.
a good idea. That probably brings more energy too.
Exactly.
Which is what we need to make it through. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm curious, Gretchen, would you like to pull a card from your, I know,
Sure.
do you have your Lightworker Oracle or another one?
I do. Yes, I do.
And while she's doing this, I want to mention that what we're doing actually is radiating light out to the world now. Those of us, if we're feeling more light, we're radiating it out. And we can intentionally do that, of course, but it's happening anyhow. And we can just allow that light to radiate all around the world.
Lovely. I got an invitation to connect.
Interesting.
Which is a beautiful card. And
I have this. Let me see. I'll get mine.
So it says, love exists throughout our universe. Many loving beings that do not belong to the human race exist in worlds beyond the earthly realm, which we've been talking about. Among these are those who are aware of the spiritual plight of humanity and are willing and able to help us move forward. Unlike those who close their minds because they fear the unknown, you, meaning the collective here today, have an open mind and an open, receptive heart. Beings from other worlds recognize us as receptive channels for that unconditional loving assistance in the world. And so we'll both benefit from this individually and help the planet And so we're being offered an invitation to connect. And I feel like that's a lot of what we've been talking about, is making that connection with our spirit guides, with the loving beings of light that want to help us, that are here to support us as well. So that's a beautiful card. Of course, it's much longer explanation, but
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Looking at it, I just opened to the book. It's on page 66 also, when 6 is the kind of the number of connecting.
Right. Right.
Which is interesting.
Right.
Yeah. And it is. I think part of 3D reality is a sense that we're alone, and we're not. We're never alone. And we can invite these beautiful beings of light. If there's no one else around a person, invite in Raziel. Enjoy it. We have each other too, and that's what the circle is about.
I think the imagery is beautiful too, because he's holding that ball of white light, just like you were suggesting.
Wow.
For Metatron. And you have a lot of this kind of planetary with the light and the golden light of the universe. So I think that's all very symbolic, and a wonderful card for all of us who are on the show today, and the people that will watch it after the show. I think that's a good reminder that they want us to connect.
Right.
This is not just us asking constantly as a one-sided, do things for me, but it's a relationship that we're building.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And when I actually recently Metatron, when I see him, he's holding a ball of light in his hand and holding it out to us, which usually there's a group around, and if it's just me, he still is there and holding out that light for me. Right. We can take it. It is us, and it's a brilliant diamond that we are. So thank you.
Right. You're welcome. And you took that and you gave that to all of us just now as a gift. So that's beautiful, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at the end now. It comes so fast. So Loola, would you like to tell people a little more about how they can find out more about you?
Of course. And thank you. Yeah, people can connect with me in my webpage. That is Loola Mora, LOOLAMORA.com. And in social media, the same, with Loola with 2 O. And I would love to connect. There are many nice things in my webpage, and actually you can get a sense of my spirit in all of the things that I share. And yeah, I would love to connect.
Wonderful. Thank you. So how about you, Gretchen?
Thank you. Yes, people can find me at spiraljourney.net, or you can find me on Facebook at Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services. And right now I'm running a lot of programs through the end of the month that are all half off. And if anyone would like to connect with me, I'd love to do that. I'd be happy to do so. So thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. The Circle of Love and Light is part of Awakenings Institute, which is devoted to creating a more loving world. And Philip, my husband Philip, and I, right now we're doing a course on the Akashic Records that is still available. You can find it at tinyurl.com/Akashic-course. We use a tiny URL because our website is big and there are a lot of long URLs. You can also find out more about the Circle at circleofloveandlight.org. And if you want to support the Circle, please like our page or follow it. I'm not sure what it lets you do, but like it and follow it, whatever works. Also, you can share the video on Facebook, I think, or YouTube, probably with your friends. And invite your friends to join you in the Circle. It's fun to do it together and have something to discuss afterwards. So again, thank you for joining us and being sources of love and light for the world. The last thing we always do is send that love and light that we've accumulated out to the coming week. And you can fill your past with it too. Just fill your whole timeline with love and light. And when you go forward into the week, then you have that love for yourself. Also remember, we have just gone through a full moon. So if things have seemed a little tenuous, just be calm because it'll be gone in a couple of days. And have a wonderful week. We'll see you again next time. And I have a special announcement. I have a free book that we're going to have available this week that I want everybody to know about. We'll be talking about it in this circle next Sunday. So have a beautiful week for everybody.
Bye.